So, on this podcast, I talk a lot about the two fundamental movements of the voice, getting your vocal folds to stretch and hence you adjust pitch, and to bring those chords together to allow for changes in dynamics. And it is a really important part to focus because most singers will have trouble controlling these two elements well. And it's actually where I spend most of the time with my students. But the reality is this: none of this would work without good, consistent airflow. No airflow, no sound. And I noticed this for myself. Sometimes I'm, working on my technique, I'm working on getting the stretch, working on connecting chords, only to realize I just haven't been giving it enough air. And so for today, I want to share with you just a very simple way to check in on your breathing to make sure it's working well, so we can get that quick win, we can tick it off, so then we can come back to building those finer movements of the stretch and also the connection of the chords. Now, real quick, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ivan. I'm a voice teacher who works with students from all around the world. And really, my goal on this podcast is make learning how to sing as simple and as easy as possible. And so if that is up your lane, consider subscribing from wherever you join me from. If you're interested in working with me, I've got links down in the description below. If you want to inspire our next episode, drop down into the comments below what you want me to talk about next. Anyway, let's dive into the exercise. Now, personally, I don't like to overcomplicate breathing. As long as I can keep a constant flow of air, I'll use a bit more if I want to sing a bit stronger, I'll use a bit less if I'm not singing as strong. That's all I'm trying to achieve. And so I'm going to break this exercise down into 3 steps to help you feel a bit more of this kind of constant airflow. And so step 1 here is we're just going to practice blowing some air, and we're not going to do it voice. So simply just blow some air. And some general cues here is I'm just noticing a constant kind of flow of air. Don't worry about blowing too much or too little. Just focus on keeping it consistent, because we're going to learn to dial it in eventually, because the airflow kind of depends on how strong or how soft you're singing with anyway. Now, one of the interesting things that I notice is as long as I'm focusing on keeping a very kind of consistent flow of air, I notice some part of my body, my belly kind of naturally engages automatically, and it feels quite natural. That's why as long as I just focus on giving good airflow, the body kind of follows and it does what it needs. Now, once you've found this feeling of constant airflow, and it shouldn't really take that long, right? What we're going to try to do is we're going to add our voice to it, and we might even kind of vocalize through a simple scale, a simple pattern. Now, the first part here is let's just try to find it on a hum. This would be a really, really good one. And I'm going to do it like this. And all I'm just trying to do here is I'm comparing these two kind of sounds that I'm making. Do I have that kind of same underlying feeling of airflow, right? Whether I make a sound or whether I don't make a sound at all. And then all you do, mum, 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 mum. All I'm trying to do here is when I'm going through my scale, I'm once again trying to find a match, trying to notice, do I have that kind of same underlying feeling of flow as I do these exercises? If I did, that is a win. Last but not least, you can then also bring it to a song. Now, in the context of a song, things might kind of change around a tiny bit, because you might sing a bit stronger, you might sing a bit softer, but in general, you're just noticing, do I keep that same underlying feeling of flow? 的黑夜问白天，能不能赦免灰色的人间？别将我把日夜逼迫的眼泪一滴就沦陷。来自目光的明信片，它无色无色无言，分过山顶跟模板鬼脸。And so you can apply this to a song. And all I was doing as I was singing through the song, I wasn't focusing on the stretch, I wasn't focusing on the connection, I was just simply focusing on, can I keep that same underlying feeling of good airflow? Now, personally, as I've said at the beginning, breathing doesn't really fix every vocal problem that you have, contrary to what most singing teachers might be talking about. Once you kind of get the breathing down, it is important to focus on some of the other parts, like the fundamentals, getting a good stretching of the vocal folds, knowing what that feels like, and getting good connection. But this could be a really good progression to follow and to work through, and just to make sure that your breathing is in good order. Anyway, that is all. If you found this episode useful, please share this episode or give this a 5-star if you're listening from the podcast. This really, really means the world to me. If you'd like to study with me, links are down in the description below. Take care.